Okay. All right. Well, I can go ahead and excuse me and get started just walking through this. So I'm not sure, Eleanor, if you know how far we progressed with this, but we do have the LMS installed and branded, and we have basically we've started development on the intro to engineering design, and then the micro modules as well for that as well. But we also have our Linksys courses in there that are the middle school appropriate age courses for fundamental skills like social citizenship, study skills, time management, academic organization, and so forth. So those are in there as well too, and they're not really we didn't really do much branding at this point on those, but they're installed and they're usable, they're ready to go from that standpoint. So if we go
all of the soft skill ones are geared towards middle school and up, but the other I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, the age groups targeted. So right now these aren't broken out in category per se. Let me maybe if I show you a better view of the categories, that might give you a better idea. So the categories are as follows. So we do have really it's kind of running the whole gamut, but the K through 4, the secondary 5th through 6th, middle school, and then the high school 9 through 12, and then the post high school. So really is, I think we've kind of discussed and talked about at some point all of these will be developed for different age levels, I believe. But right now the K-12, or I'm sorry, the 5th and 6th, and actually those should be combined, but we have the Linksys courses in there for the 5th and 6th grade, because those are really geared towards transitioning into middle school type of foundational skills for those. And then for the high school, there we go. All right, yeah. Where did I head? We have our subcategories of the science, technology, engineering, and math in those. And then we haven't actually put the engineering modules in anything yet, even though those are geared towards the high school level at this point. So that kind of gives you an overview of the full structure of everything, and then as we just basically start filling the gaps in on all of those different categories for the different types of content. And the way that we're kind of building those is it'll be easy to kind of mix and match different segments of the content. So this micro module can really be interchangeable in a lot of areas because it's very basic and straightforward, but it can be applied to maybe certain levels here within the middle school and high school levels. But the full module, the intro to engineering design, incorporates that micro module. So they're kind of very compartmental, and take a look at them. So this is just a video right now. This isn't the actual video to be in there, but what's that?
I don't know if it's me, but I am not seeing your screen move. Eleanor, are you seeing?
Yes. I'm
okay.
seeing it.
Well, okay. No, well, that's good. Well, keep going. I'm going to work on my connection, see what's going on, but keep going. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Yeah, you might just try, I don't know, resetting or something. Maybe so
Right.
We can get back on there. So you start out with the intro video, then you go to your course objectives here, and then we have basically a pre-test build that they would have to take first before they do anything. So I've already kind of went through it, but you only get one attempt on that because that you actually compare with what will be a post-test at the end of the introduction to engineering module. So you'll have a comparison for both. And then we have basically what we call a toolbox, and that's where you have kind of different resources that are printable. You can actually go in and things that are coordinating with the content at each time can be printed out. So they'll have the, like mind mapping handout and prototyping tools and tips and tricks and different things that are applicable to that course. You can actually go there and print them out at that point. So it's kind of like what we call a little
tool. So it is specific to that module, what's in that toolbox. It'll vary from module to module. Okay.
Correct, yeah. And so those are really just resources that are kind of companions for the course content. And then we kind of dig into what we call the scenario. And these are all based on each other, so they actually have to take a pretest before they get to the scenario. So the scenario would open up in a new window. And basically, it's what it is. We're teaching them about a need, and then we're explaining what that scenario is and what their situation is in the course. And it's just very brief. It's just kind of an overview. So we actually do go through the graph method. So on the left here, you actually have your, the role. You have your, actually I need to, let me see that again. So you have your role, your goal, your role, your audience, and your situation, and then your products, your end product for that too. So so a lot of this will be kind of interactive. They can go through and kind of learn about the product that they're designing for this example. So that's basically like a little piece about the scenario of the whole course and what their goal is going through this course, and then their end result or their end products could possibly be whether doing a demo presentation, designing a technical report, or prototypes and magazines and sales pitches for the whole product. So, and then the rest of the engineering module actually covers these. And that's where they start getting into what we call those micro modules. That one you saw before is actually this module here. So they actually go through what the actual engineering process is. So they're learning that situation. And you can't hear this right now, but there's just dummy audio in it right now that correlates with the animation that's being played in here. So they would basically learn about the different types of engineering. And then they're actually, this is really just kind of interactive content right now. And the audio would probably help, but I don't have it connected right now. So, so the audio is playing.
Jake, do you mind if I jump in and say something?
Not a bit, go for it.
Okay, so Eleanor, what we asked Mobius to do is to create these modules where we can insert essentially any brand into the content. So as specific as it is kind of like a blank slate and a template where, let's say whether it's Nike, Under Armour, or NBA, any of the sports leagues, when we make a presentation to them, they're not, we won't be making a presentation to Adidas with Nike content on it. So that's why you don't see any of their brands here. And so one of the things that is being done now and will come next with these modules is videos that are specific to the module. And so that's two parts. That's us working with whatever organization to get approval for that content. Because I know, part of this conversation is understanding where we need to get approvals from. And then the second thing will be, just with Azel's team going out and, doing the interviews that are going to be specific to these modules and micro modules. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So just to let you know, that's where we are. It's not, for example, with Soul Game, we want to work with the NBA and Nike on that. That's why it's a blank slate where, again, none of the brands are mentioned, but that is something that's going to be very important to us because that's one of the things that we'll find unique about our platform versus any other intro to engineering module that the students will be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And from a technical standpoint, for us being able to kind of swap out the brands is pretty straightforward for us, and it really doesn't take too much time to do that. So, kind of being able to think ahead and be nimble on that aspect as different brands come in on different modules, we can transition that pretty easily.
Okay.
So that's really kind of the first part that we have developed so far. The part that goes along with the graph and the steps that are in here are the rest of these steps that they're actually going to be going through. And it'll be the same type of content where they're actually clicking on a box here and opening up a window and learning about the thinking process in step 1, and then learning how to explore in step 2, and then the requirements that are needed, and then going into brainstorming, building, testing, and then communicating. And so then at the end, they would actually have a final assessment, or maybe what we would call a post-test or post-assessment. And that would be, in the grade report, that would be comparable to their pre-test here. So you would actually be able to see a gain in knowledge, and hopefully some retention, knowledge retention as well too. And then there's always the student survey at the bottom we'll have in there for course feedback. So we can always kind of adjust as technology changes, as situations change, we can get better feedback from that as well too. And then there's, we haven't talked about this or not yet, but there'll be certain certificates and badges that'll be awarded along the way as well too. So, so all of these are on the docket to be built, and that's kind of the path that we're going down for these courses. So just like I showed you, this piece can be taken out. All these little pieces can actually be their own modules. It can be interplayed with different courses at different times. So it's very modular, same as this, and they can all be kind of taken out and mixed and matched with the different set of courses once everything is built. So and the teacher will actually have a teacher guide. So they'll have their own teacher's toolbox in here that the student won't see. So they'll have their teacher guide, they'll have an answer sheet, and resources for some of the content as well too. And then kind of that teacher guide would incorporate how to use that within a day-to-day basis is how they present that course. So from a teaching perspective, they should have all the content that they need for teaching this course and going through it, and best practices and things like that. And then from the student, it should be very straightforward because we kind of force them to go in a linear process through the course. So, and I think from our perspective too, delivering these courses on a technical standpoint is pretty straightforward. We can deliver them through LTI to other LTI consumer learning management systems. And so when we go to deliver these to courses, you can actually kind of gate the content from this learning management system and deliver it to specific other learning management systems. So delivery should be very straightforward. That might require us working with let's say a school adopts this and they have an IT guy for their learning management system, and we just provide them with some information, and they should be off and going. If they don't pay, you can always shut the spigot off. So from a technical standpoint, we're everything's built in a proper delivery method and a proper SCORM compliant packages and things like that. So everything is up to date technology wise, and yeah, I think that's probably the majority of how that's going to flow. Any questions?
And how long
any thoughts?
Well, I'm sure that there are questions Tammy would have that I'm not thinking of. But for example, I'm things I'm thinking about. I just want to kind of get a feel for how long do you think that a teacher would take to teach this module?
I think Emily has designed those for a 10-day cycle, I believe. Is that what it was, Taylor? That
it's about 10 days, Eleanor. And what's unique is that each of those days will have their own 45-minute lesson plan. So kind of when we go back to the content being modular, that's where we're looking at if, one module could be one 45-day lesson, essentially, or it could break out into 10 days.
And I think